English Inside. Comparatives and Superlatives. It is possible to compare the characteristics of nouns, it is to say people, things or places, such as size, weight, temperature, distance, speed, age, etc., using comparatives and superlatives. In this case, for example, we have three elements, three boxes, and we can compare its size. Box B is bigger than box A, C is bigger than A and B, and C is the biggest of all. We can also say or use the antonym or the opposite adjective, in this case small. A is smaller than B and C. B is smaller than C. And A is the smallest of all. It is possible to establish a negative comparison, so as to say that two things are not different. In this case, we can say that A is not bigger than B, and B is not bigger than A. In other words, they are the same size. Likewise, it is possible to use the opposite adjective, in this case, small. A is not smaller than B, and B is not smaller than A. In order to transform the adjectives and adverbs into comparatives or superlatives, we have to follow the next rules. Rule number 1. When we happen to have one-syllable adjective or adverb, we merely add to the comparatives the letters er, and for the superlatives, we use the article the plus the letters est. For example, we have the adjective smart, and we create the comparative smarter than, and the superlative the smartest. Young, younger than, the youngest. Fast, faster than, the fastest. Rule number 2. When we happen to have one-syllable adjective or adverb ending in E, the only thing we have to add is the letters R plus than and the article the plus st. For example, blue, bluer than. Superlative, the bluest. Large, larger than, the largest. Close, closer than, the closest. Rule number 3. When we happen to have one-syllable adjective with a consonant-vowel-consonant sound pattern at the end, we do the next. We repeat the last consonant and add the letters er. And for the superlatives, we have to use the article the plus the letters st. Wet, wetter than, the wettest. Big, bigger than, the biggest. Sad, sadder than, the saddest. Rule number 4. When we happen to have two-syllable adjectives ending in y, we change the letter y for the letter I plus er, and for the superlative, the plus st. Pretty, prettier than, the prettiest. Happy, happier than, the happiest. Busy, busier than, the busiest. Rule number 5. For adjectives or adverbs with two or more syllables, we use the comparative more and the superlative the most. More, most. For example, famous, more famous than. the most famous. Interesting, more interesting than, the most interesting. Carefully, more carefully than, the most carefully. It is possible to use the antonym or the opposite for the word more, in this case, the word less, and for the superlative, the least. For example, famous, less famous than, the least famous. Interesting, less interesting than, the least interesting. Carefully, less carefully than, the least carefully. Rule number 6. For irregular adjectives or adverbs, there is no system of pattern. Check the following. Good, the comparative, better than. Superlative, the best. Well, this is an adverb, the comparative, better than, and the superlative, the best. Notice that we use the same comparative for the adjective and for the adverb. The same happens for the following. Bad, the comparative is worse than, and the superlative, the worst. And it's the same for the adverb. Badly, we say worse than, and the worst. For the adjective far, we have one comparative which is farther than, and the superlative, the farthest. But it is also possible to say further than and the furthest. Both are to talk about distance. So we say farther than and further than for distances. But the expression further can also be used so as to express more quantity of something. For example, for further information, go to the website. Little or few, we say less than, and the least. Much or many, we say more than, and the most. The following kind of comparison is to say that there is no difference between the thing which is being compared, in this case the size. A is as big as B, and B is as big as A. There is no difference. The adjective remains in simple form, and we can also use the antonym, in this case small. A is as small as B, and B is as small as A. When we use it in negative, the only thing that we are saying is that there is a difference. In this case, A is not as big as B, and B is not as small as A. And please like this video, share, comment, subscribe, and of course, thanks for watching. Bye!